Gavin Newsom has allegedly welcomed Eala like the biggest star that the WTA has ever had, a legend even at her young age. That claim alone would sound exaggerated if it were not for what unfolded in the California desert just hours before the start of the Indian Wells tournament.
I mean, she's improving all the time. She's a really nice person already. She's a really good player. It's really nice to see her improving. She keeps going all the time. She's a fighter on the court. What is nice for me, she's so young, maybe she will play with my daughter one day. So it's really nice for me to see also the improvement. And I mean, she's a super good example for my daughter too, because she's really a fighter.
If you love Alexandra as much as we do, please subscribe to the channel. The Indian Wells Tennis Garden, a venue often described as the unofficial fifth Grand Slam because of its prestige, its enormous crowds, and its uniquely American spectacle, has hosted the greatest names in tennis history. Champions, legends, and global icons have walked through its gates for decades. Yet on this particular morning, something happened that longtime observers of the sport say they have never seen before.
Filipino tennis sensation Alex Eala is attracting dozens of fans, even during her practice sessions in California. Social media posts have shown Eala practicing to a backdrop of many supporters. Fans are trying to catch a glimpse of the Filipino tennis ace even before the tournament starts. Eala gamely signed autograph requests after her practice sessions.
Moments before the main draw was scheduled to begin, activity around the stadium suddenly shifted in a way that immediately set off alarm bells throughout the tournament grounds. Staff members were seen moving quickly through the main concourse. Security teams redirected foot traffic, and access to several areas of the complex was quietly paused.
Yeah, well, I think on social media, in terms of that metric, the biggest thing I've noticed actually is that this tournament is the Australian Open YouTube channel. Yeah. They uploaded 29 of the pre-tournament press conferences that the players did, and mostly it's the biggest stars in the sport. And then also Eala, who is clearly one of the biggest stars. And before, as of today, I was looking at the view counts for these videos. Eala is in first place among all 29 of these top Australian Open players. I think at the time she had about 173,000 views on this YouTube video.
Spectators who had arrived early for practice sessions began whispering to each other, trying to figure out what was going on, because the disruption did not resemble any routine security procedure.
Okay, the ball isn't going through the court as fast as some of the hard courts played already this season. So players are having to work a lot harder to win points, or they're having to risk it by going very close to the lines to actually get it past the opponent. Yastremska is a player who goes for it. She really tries to hit winners at the earliest opportunity, but she is very inconsistent.
So Eala's going to have to do Sulong. That's my new Tagalog word. I hope I said it right.
Yeah, I can see this match being decided by who breaks serve the most.
Within minutes, the confusion began to spread across the media rooms and the practice courts. Even players warming up for their sessions noticed that something unusual was happening around the venue. Rumors quickly started circulating that a high-profile visitor had arrived, but nobody seemed to know exactly who it was or why the tournament schedule appeared to be temporarily shifting around that visit. Then the name began to surface. According to several insiders at the venue, California Governor Gavin Newsom had reportedly arrived at Indian Wells with the intention of personally welcoming Alex Eala to the tournament. For a political figure of that level to appear at a tennis event is not unheard of, but what made the situation remarkable was the scale of attention surrounding the moment. Witnesses described a motorcade of dark SUVs pulling up near the practice facilities, an arrival that immediately caught the attention of fans and journalists alike. The governor stepped out with his security detail and walked directly toward the area where Eala had been training. The spectacle instantly became the biggest talking point of the day. Observers who have covered Indian Wells for years pointed out that even the most decorated champions in tennis history rarely receive that kind of reception from state leadership. Legends such as Rafael Nadal, Serena Williams, Roger Federer, and Novak Djokovic have commanded enormous respect at the tournament. but the idea of a governor personally arriving to greet a player in the middle of preparations was something entirely different. Yet in this case, the explanation was not political protocol or ceremonial duty. The explanation, at least according to those close to the event, was Alex Eala herself.
Is she the biggest draw in women's tennis right now?
Yes.
Is she bigger than Sabalenka? Is she bigger than Coco?
Dude, it's crazy. She's having the same effect that Fonseca was having, like, on the men's side last year in Miami.
It's like Fonseca, but I think it's bigger than Fonseca.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Like, the Doha, like, crowds were insane for her last week.
If she wins a slam, it would be like one of the biggest things in the world.
Yeah.
Correct.
She's definitely one to watch, obviously because she's so good, but just for the atmosphere. You want to tune into her matches just to see what it's like on the court.
There's got to be like a little jealousy maybe from some of the women. The girls coming in, she's not top 10, biggest star in the world.
Over the past year, Eala has experienced one of the most explosive rises in modern tennis. What began as the story of a promising young player from the Philippines has rapidly evolved into a global phenomenon that has captured attention across the sport. Analysts, commentators, former champions, and tournament directors have all started using the same language when discussing her influence. They say she is no longer simply a talented competitor on the tour, but a cultural force who is changing how the women's game is viewed around the world. That influence has become impossible to ignore, especially when it comes to the numbers. Ticket demand for matches involving Eala has surged dramatically at multiple tournaments, and Indian Wells appears to be the latest example. Industry analysts tracking attendance patterns reported that early ticket sales for the sessions surrounding her debut had spiked far beyond typical levels for that stage of the competition. Fans from across the globe, particularly from Southeast Asia and the Filipino diaspora, have been traveling to see her play, creating a wave of enthusiasm that tournament organizers openly acknowledge. This phenomenon has even acquired its own nickname among commentators, who describe it as the Eala effect. It is not simply about curiosity surrounding a rising player. It is about the feeling among fans that they are witnessing the emergence of a generational star whose influence could reshape the sport's global audience. That context helps explain why the governor's appearance at Indian Wells attracted so much attention. According to reports from inside the venue, Newsom's visit was not just a quick handshake opportunity for a photo. Sources claim that he took time to meet with Eala during her practice session and personally expressed admiration for the impact she has already had on tennis.
So for Filipino fans coming here to Indian Wells for the BNP Paribas Open, I can confirm that Alex Eala's first match will be Friday, March 5th. Eala will face the winner of the round 1 match between Shuai Zhang and Diana Yastremska. Alex is a ranked player for the Indian Wells tournament, which is why she received a bye in the first round and will be playing in round 2. Round 2.
Those present described the encounter as warm and enthusiastic, with the governor acknowledging that her rise has brought unprecedented attention to the tournament and to the state of California as a host of major sporting events. The symbolism of that moment did not go unnoticed. For decades, the WTA has searched for ways to expand its audience across new regions of the world. While the sport has produced many great champions, very few have managed to ignite the kind of global fan momentum that transcends traditional tennis markets. Eala's story, however, appears to be breaking through those barriers. Her journey from Quezon City to the international tennis stage has resonated deeply with fans who see her as a representation of opportunity, resilience, and ambition. The narrative of a young athlete rising from a country without a long history of tennis dominance and suddenly becoming one of the most talked about players in the sport has captured imaginations everywhere. While endorsements alone do not define a career, they often signal how strongly the commercial world believes in an athlete's ability to connect with audiences. In Eala's case, the belief appears overwhelming. Everywhere she travels on the tour, the crowds seem to grow larger. Social media engagement surrounding her matches has skyrocketed. Television broadcasts that feature her have seen noticeable increases in viewership compared to similar matches without her involvement.
In place was Novak Djokovic, who I think had about 80,000. And then, the number one, Carlos Alcaraz, was at like 28,000. The women's number one, Sabalenka, I think was around 9,000. I mean, Eala's numbers were blowing them out of the water. Like, the popularity she had was not even close to anyone else. No one could match her. She was doubling second place Novak Djokovic, who's won 24 Grand Slam titles. But he can't catch Alex Eala in this category. She's already top of the chart in this way of looking at things.
These trends are exactly the kind of indicators that sports executives pay attention to, and they may explain why political leaders and local officials are also beginning to recognize her value. California, after all, understands the business of global entertainment perhaps better than any region in the world. From Hollywood to Silicon Valley, the state has built its reputation on identifying rising stars and aligning itself with the cultural movements that capture global attention. Seen through that lens, the governor's presence at Indian Wells becomes less surprising. If Eala truly represents the next major global attraction in tennis, then welcoming her with enthusiasm sends a message that California intends to remain the epicenter of major sporting spectacles. While details remain unclear, some insiders speculate that initiatives connecting California with emerging tennis communities abroad could be part of the broader conversation. Even without official confirmation, the symbolism of the meeting carried enormous weight. Media outlets covering the tournament quickly shifted their focus toward the story, and analysts began discussing how rare it is for a young player to generate such a powerful intersection between sports, culture, and politics. Some commentators described the moment as evidence that Eala's influence has already expanded beyond the tennis court.
There's a new it girl in tennis, and it's Alex Eala. I'm not just saying that because I'm biased, because I'm an Asian woman, and so is Alex Eala, who's Filipina. Last week on the Nothing Major podcast, the guys asked, is Alex bigger than Coco Gauff or Aryna Sabalenka? And I have to say, yes. She's actually the biggest draw in women's tennis right now, and that's because of her community. Filipino community is loud and proud of their it girl. She's only 20 years old, and she had a breakout last year at Miami Open. Listen to this. Last week, she played in Dubai against Coco Gauff, where she lost. But people were saying it was crazy because...
The reactions from within the tennis world were equally fascinating. Several former players and television analysts openly praised her ability to draw attention to the sport at a time when the WTA is searching for its next generation of superstars. They pointed out that moments like the one at Indian Wells demonstrate how much excitement she has created among fans, sponsors, and organizers alike. Others highlighted the broader significance of her rise for Asian tennis, emphasizing that her success is inspiring young athletes across an entire region that has long been underrepresented at the very top of the sport. This wave of admiration has been building steadily over the past year, and Indian Wells now appears to be the stage where it is reaching a new level. Tournament staff have quietly acknowledged that the excitement surrounding her matches has added an entirely new layer of energy to the event. For longtime observers of tennis, the scene feels reminiscent of other moments when a young star suddenly captured the imagination of the sporting world. When players such as Serena Williams or Maria Sharapova first broke through on the global stage, they brought with them a surge of new fans who transformed the atmosphere at tournaments. Many analysts now believe Eala could be creating a similar shift.
The Dubai tournament director for the Dubai Championships, which happened about a week ago, told the National that Eala's matches were all sold out at that tournament. The biggest stadium in Dubai fits about 5,000 people. Here at Indian Wells, there are two stadiums bigger than that, one that fits 16,000 and one that fits 8,000. There are a bunch of Filipinos here right now that I've seen as I've walked around, but I don't know if it's enough to fit one of the bigger two stadiums, especially considering her round one match isn't against a significantly notable name.
The difference is that her influence is unfolding in an era where social media and global broadcasting amplify every development instantly. A highlight clip from a single match can travel around the world in seconds, and passionate fan communities can mobilize enormous support for their favorite players. Eala's supporters have embraced that dynamic completely. Online discussions surrounding her matches often trend internationally, and her followers eagerly track every update from tournaments. By the time she arrived at Indian Wells, the anticipation surrounding her performance had already reached remarkable levels. That anticipation only intensified after news of the governor's welcome spread across the tennis world. The real question, however, still hangs in the air. All the attention, the excitement, the rising expectations, and the extraordinary welcome from one of the most powerful states in America ultimately lead back to the same place, the tennis court. Because in a sport where reputations can change with a single match, the next chapter of the Alex Eala story will not be written by motorcades, headlines, or political admiration.
What did you make of her run in Miami and her as a player?
Yeah, I thought it was really fascinating. She uses her leftiness really well. When she went on that run, it was really impressive how she handled the big moments on the stadium court. What's interesting about her draw in Madrid is if she beats Tomova, who does she play second round? It would be Swiatek, who has that bye. So I love this in women's tennis right now, where you get like a compelling matchup maybe a month after the first one.
It will be written by the way she performs when the crowd falls silent, the ball is tossed into the air, and the first point of the match finally begins. Because in the end, the noise surrounding Alex Eala always leads back to the same place, the court. All the headlines, the speculation, the political attention, and the almost surreal welcome she received at Indian Wells will ultimately mean very little once the match begins. Tennis has always had a way of stripping away the spectacle and leaving only the player, the racket, and the pressure of the moment. That reality is what makes the story surrounding Eala so fascinating right now, because she is stepping into this tournament carrying not just expectations, but an entire wave of global attention that continues to grow with every passing day. Broadcasters have reported significant increases in viewership when her matches appear on the schedule, and tournament organizers have noticed that sessions featuring her are suddenly attracting fans who may never have followed tennis before. That surge in interest is already being reflected in the numbers coming out of Indian Wells. Ticket demand for the early rounds has jumped dramatically compared with previous editions of the tournament, and insiders suggest that the sessions surrounding Eala's debut are among the most sought-after seats of the entire opening week. For a player still building her career on the tour, that level of demand is almost unheard of.
The highest paid female athlete right now, and one of tennis's biggest stars as well. But the crowd was 98% supporting Alex, which is crazy. I mean, even Coco said that it was such a great thing because she's bringing in new fans that weren't necessarily so into tennis before. I'm so excited for her. I feel like she's so cute. I am such a fan of her, and I can't wait to see her hopefully at Indian Wells next week.
Many commentators believe the reason is simple. Fans feel that they are witnessing the beginning of something special. Eala's journey from a promising junior champion to one of the most talked about young athletes in global tennis has unfolded with remarkable speed, and every new tournament now carries the sense that another milestone might be just around the corner. The remarkable welcome from Governor Gavin Newsom only amplified that narrative. It sent a signal that her impact is already reaching far beyond the tennis world and into broader conversations about culture, economics, and global sports entertainment. Yet the most intriguing part of the story is still unfolding. Because if Alex Eala manages to translate all of this attention into victories on the court, then the excitement surrounding her today may soon look like only the beginning of something far bigger than anyone imagined when she first picked up a racket.